Hi everyone, Dean from Real Estate Dynamics, and I'm very, very special guest here. I've got Michael, who we happen to be at a Gary Vaynerchuk seminar today in Brisbane, and he's just been through not only Brisbane but Sydney and Melbourne, and they're off to Auckland. So I've got Michael, who's the actual promoter from Success Resources, and he also brings out Tony Robbins. Hey. So Michael, I wanted to ask you, what do you think is going to happen to businesses over the next? We obviously have a real estate space that we look after, but what do you think is going to happen in real estate over the next sort of 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, look, I think the market's continuing to change, and people are getting smarter. They're getting more access to information than they've ever had before. So in the next 3 years, there's going to be significant change. You know, me as a business owner, I'm looking and trying to project what's happening 3 to 5 years ahead.
And some of your, sorry to interrupt, but some of your stuff, you've got to book people that aren't out here till late next year now.
I'm even looking at booking people in 2020. So I need to think about what's going to be hot then. I mean, how much is the game going to change for a business owner?
And you've got to put money up front for that.
And I've got to invest that now in some cases. So look, what I think's going to happen, I think there's going to be an even more of a shift to social media. There's going to be more of a shift to building a profile like you're doing and starting to, even if you don't know why you need it at this point, is start building your profile. They're going to start to continue to look for who's the expert in that space. And people are going to Google, who is the expert in that space, in real estate, in business, in a niche of rentals in certain southern Queensland or wherever it may be. Who is the expert at that? I need to get around that person. So what I can tell you is you continue to build your profile, continue to be perceived as the expert in your space. That's not going away. There'll be turbulent stuff happening in real estate, in business, in sales, in all areas. But I think that's the one area where there's bullish growth in the next 2 to 3 years.
Now that's a cracker point there, because the social media side, everyone's sort of talking about, oh, it's a bit of a flavour. And we still know in that real estate space, even down to one of the simplest ones, which is LinkedIn, that only about 40 to 50% of agents have a profile in LinkedIn, and even if they are, whether they're complete, that they haven't put all their details in or their phone number. So there is a really good point for all agencies out there to make sure that your social media profile, mind you, they can get lost in that space because it's like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do Facebook. But even if they just do the basics in each of them to make sure.
It's not difficult, and it's not as time consuming as it may sound. Post 1 or 2 videos a week. Put your listings in your social media profile every single week. You know, a lot of people doing that on Facebook and Instagram and those kind of things, but LinkedIn for me is my #1 platform for social media. It's where I get to connect exactly with my target market.
That's how
locally.
we connected.
That's exactly how we connect. So build that profile, put content out. That might be scheduling something at 6 a.m. before you go to the office.
Before you get busy doing everything else, and just do a little bit.
It's 5 to 7 minutes. You do that daily or every second day. In 2 or 3 years, you'll be absolutely thanking us for that.
Now, one other point I wanted to bring up was that they need to, as far as Success Resources, as far as Tony Robbins, they brought him out recently this year. They put a big stretch goal and said we're going to do, first in 25 years of bringing him out, we're going to do 10,000 this year. Talk me through that. You didn't end up at 10,000.
No.
Only
7,500.
7,500, which was huge as a number. But talk me through, you know, people out there of, in one sense, it was a bit disappointing, but hey, hang on. If we look back on, look, we got 7,500 people here in Australia to come and see him. So what did you go through with that?
Look, there's a couple of things around that. For me, psychology is super important. So for me, I want to declare my goal. When you put a goal out to the world, not just to your team, but publicly on social media, guess what? You're going to get up every day and you're going to do everything you can to try and make that work. And I put it boldly at 10,000 people, and it was humbling not to get to that. But then the psychology of going, hold on, the year before that we had 5,800. And this year we did 7,500. So some people know shooting for the stars and shooting for the moon and landing on the stars, but I love declaring what I want to do. Because it holds me and it gets me out of bed every day.
Which is perfect for real estate, because you know it's tougher markets now. So hence, if they're declaring and putting it out there, it still helps them. Even if they get 3/4 of the way there, they're probably a lot more than if they didn't declare it.
And you'll be so surprised that other people who resonate with you go, you know what, good on you for having the honesty and the integrity of getting up, declaring it, and then putting your hand up if you didn't hit it.
Yeah.
I know it sounds strange, but the amount of messages and business I got out of a video that said, guys, I failed. I wanted this.
Well, to some you failed. You didn't get to 10,000, but really, you're 7.5, and then if you look back on it and say you only did 55 you did 55.
Yeah.
Either of those are huge numbers.
But being real, being authentic, it's often missed in business and in growing your profile. But that's helped me. Is just getting up and going, you know what? We wanted this, we didn't hit it this time.
Yeah.
But we're going to do everything we can next time.
Okay.
That resonates with people.
Yeah. My last point was you brought out GaryV.
Yeah.
Now, how did you do that?
Look, got a great relationship with Gary. 2 years ago, we reached out to him and said, hey, we think our audience would love to hear from you. 2 years on, we've probably done 35 cities around the world. Yeah. Just in the process now of signing in for 17 more next year. So, mate, he's doing amazing things. He's a great partner, got a great message, and it's inspiring a lot of us to get back out there and get the hard work thing going again.
Yep.
So, great guy, easy to work with. It's been a real blessing.
So when some of those points you talked about earlier, as far as making sure you're upping your profile and business-wise, here's a man that is upping his profile and doing so much as far as exactly that as a person. There is a company behind him and 150 million turnover or whatever. But he as an individual, as a brand, which is very similar to what you talked about with agents. Agents need to develop their brand because people want to go and follow people and deal with people, not with brands.
Correct.
So hence, you've done exactly that with that side.
Yeah, look, if anything, Gary's been pushing me to do it. I mean, we've got a company that has promoted a lot of successful people, but the brand has probably been secondary to running a business. Yeah. So now I'm looking to change that. We're looking to invest in growing the brand, and you need a personality behind the brand as well. So he's pushing me to do that. But if you're listening to this and you're working for Ray White or you're working for somebody, is you can grow your company brand, you can grow your personal brand. Yeah. But it's got to come down to putting out content, giving advice, the 3 top key steps, tricks, whatever it may be, and starting to give value.
Consistency.
Absolutely. Do you mean Gary talked the other day about putting out 10 to 15 pieces of content a day? That's a lot.
He's got a team behind him.
He's got 20-odd team behind him. But for me, if I do 1 post a day on every platform, I'm happy, and I'm seeing great growth from that.
And his posts, I strongly recommend that you follow Michael from here forward, because his posts are great and they really come from the heart. There's such an authenticity about it, and it's really good to see an Aussie out there having a crack.
Thank you.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye.